represent you and make financial decisions. We are approaching the point, and up to this point, we've not put any dollars down. All the work that you've seen to date has all been done by volunteers. Most of those people have professional experience in these areas, but the bottom line is at some point when you take on a project of this magnitude, you do have to bring on a level of expertise. So we are approaching that point here sometime later this fall, where we'll have to start looking at putting money outlays. So what we did as an executive committee, we said, hey, the vestry has to be involved. We have to keep the congregation involved. So one of the things that you may notice is the way we've organized ourselves up to date was our A&E committee, which is the architecture and engineering, is looking at those programmatic needs, making sure that we're talking to the experts out here in the congregation, people who have to work in the spaces, understanding what those needs are. So as we go forward, those programmatic needs will be presented to the vestry on this coming Tuesday night for their approval. As we move forward, the Finance Committee, currently being chaired by Andy Flesher, he is looking at different financial options, which obviously will entail both the capital campaign as well as potential financing operations. So as we go forward in the future, we'll be looking at a final budget proposal. But again, all these things will be brought forward to the vestry. So when we look at the project milestones here, these are all the key milestone decisions that will be brought forward to the vestry to make a decision on. Up until that point, no final decision has been made on the project. So as you can see here, milestone 1, which will be approved on Tuesday night, is just the approval of the need statement that we brought forward and presented to you all today. As we go forward, we are starting to commence discussions with our architect and potentially looking at what a capital campaign may look like and whether we need to bring a capital campaign consultant on board. So once we reach those decisions later this fall, again, that will be brought forward to the vestry for a final decision. And finally, as we move forward in this next year, we will start finalizing what the budget will look like based on the optimum and the minimal plan and present that forward again to the vestry. And then ultimately, probably next spring to summer, we'll be moving into a capital campaign phase, and then hopefully sometime next fall, breaking ground with the potential move-in date of fall of September 14. So these are the overall milestones that we're going forward in. It's important to understand that each one of these will be communicated with the congregation at whole. We'll be holding forums and having ongoing conversations. As Ann has mentioned, everybody who raised their hand does have very good insight into what is going on, so they were already resources, as well as your vestry. We presented this plan on Tuesday night. Again, you'll be able to ask those questions and share your thoughts, dreams, and concerns with them. So that's all I have.
I feel like we've been racing through this, and it's not because we're trying to hide anything, it's because we have lots to inform you about. Now we're essentially at the end of the plan presentation. Wanted to leave the space open for questions. Are there questions here that we can answer?
What are the various needs levels and what are they standing on?
I'm going to grab the mic there. That should be on.
The certification levels run from LEED certified, which might include something like an Econo hotel on a highway. Those are tough to get better than certified. Next level is silver, which is pretty standard for federal government buildings now and schools, as I mentioned. The standard above that is gold. Platinum is the Federal Merrill Center, for example. And that's the extent of it. So certified, silver, gold, and platinum are the 4 levels. And as I was trying to say about the motel that's on a highway, the formulators of LEED sort of have the idea of trying to spare our environment from sprawl and greenfield development. So a motel that's on a highway is going to be a little bit disadvantaged from that. What's advantaged usually is like a brownfield site in downtown Baldwin where it used to be a railroad yard, and you had various things falling off railroad cars and a brownfield cleanup. Or it has a lot of bus traffic that goes by, where what the LEED wants to do is to see people getting out of their cars a little more often, getting on the buses, or better yet, bicycling. So that's a good start on that.
Other questions?
On the same question, I am familiar with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation building, so like understand why maybe we're not going to platinum. But what's the difference between silver, say, and gold, silver, gold? A generic thing, I guess, if all government buildings and schools are supposed to be aiming for that. What's the difference? What are the basic tenets and what's the difference between that and gold?
Well, for example, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation building has composting toilets. We're not going to do that here. But you get credit for that. And they're pretty amazing. I mean, it's a major tour attraction over there. That's the first place people head to, for one reason or the other. Anyway, you know, there'd be other examples such as, does a project want to have solar panels somewhere on the roof or possibly along the land? There's credit for that. Do they want to buy green power? Those of us who are homeowners, most of us here, we can buy green power currently. And where that will come from is from a wind farm in Pennsylvania, for example. So LEED honors credit to that. Groundwater, geothermal wells is another example. So there are many, many things. And for example, a big deal in LEED, I mentioned healthy buildings and increased performance in buildings, which is beginning to show some science by a lot of studies as to productivity. But one of the credits has to do with daylighting. And there's a way of measuring daylighting so that 75% of a space inside the building is available to daylight. You get a credit for that. If it's 90, you get even more credit for that. Those are the kinds of things that begin to make the distinction.
Dick, why don't you get us resources and we'll put them up on the website and we'll, you know, like website directions and other resources so that we can answer some more of these questions for you guys down the path. Because this is useful information for us and for our grander community as well. Are there other questions? Missing anybody?
May I add a historical perspective? Jim and I are among the few people who've been here for 40 or more years. And so we were here when the building that was here got torn down and built in 1970. We were here in the 80s when the church got extended from where the door to the bell tower is outward as far as we could go toward the road. But each time, we just met what we needed at the time. And I would like to think that we would lean towards building with the future in mind, because as we built it, we filled it. So I offer that to the vestry.
If you start to see bumper stickers that say, "As we built it, we filled it," you know whose door you can knock on for your own copy. Are there other questions? Oh, come on. Surely you've got a financial question. Oh, Teresa's chomping at the bit for this one. Basically, is there a master plan or thought towards a master plan?
We have had a master plan done both in 2000 and in 2007. And then there's been another informal master plan done since then. So of those 3 master plans, we're looking at all of them and working with those overall plans. The initial one done in 2000 was to see how much development that 9 acres of our property could actually support. And that was done with parking and understanding that there's on septic and well, and that we have to maintain some green space. So yes, we have looked at the overall picture.
Any other questions?
Sure. Is it, when you look at the possibility of a developing plan that allows for the minimum program, but then as the additional funds become available, expansion to the optimal program?
The question is, are we looking at possibly the minimal program with an ability to expand if money becomes available to the optimal program? That's a great question. I would like to say at this time that our decisions for this building are not only based on money. They're also based on our mission work, and does the program provide for our mission work? And is this really gonna provide the best solution for St. Margaret's? Yes, the optimal plan can be, the minimum plan can be expanded to the optimal plan. I do not know if, for instance, if maybe the minimum plan is built with a basement that's not built out, it could later be filled in, or if we would build one building and then build another piece later. I do know that there's an awful lot of work that is going into this at this stage, and it would be really nice if we could get, as much as we can for all the work that's gone in and all the planning that goes in.
We are pretty much in closing, because otherwise Peter's gonna get a ding on his record. Please feel free to contact any number of us through email, through the office, through letters, through phone numbers. We're trying to be transparent in this process. If you have any questions, fire them our way. Thank you for coming.